is cheating. So wardship is the power that is used by the state. And wardship, it's interesting, in military tenures is the right of the Lord, and this is feudal law, to have custody as guardian of the body and the lands of the infant heir without any account of profits until he was 21 or she 16. And in soakage, the guardian was accountable for profits, and he was the Lord, but the nearest relative to whom the inheritance could not descend, and the wardship ceases at 14. Now, if the person or if the heir, by virtue of being incapable in the normal process of descendancy, if that is interrupted therein, and there is how its cheating process is instituted by the state under the issue or the legal guise of the guardian or wardship, because the persons now become wards of the state and are incapable of receiving by normal descendancy their inheritance. Therefore, they are disinherited by clever legal chicanery. Nationalization is in place to address those politics. So what if people really don't understand what nationalization is? They don't look at it that way, do they? And if they're looking at it as a wardship system where we're looking at something to pray and all that sort of stuff, concepts are wrong, aren't they? Now you understand why certain people don't teach the national side of this movement? It's a whole nother area, isn't it? It ain't about praying, is it? It's about hereditaments, isn't it? Both corporal and incorporeal. That means these people don't have to be poor, do they? Somebody's playing with us. Now you see the problems that Noble Drawley had? You see why he wrote that letter that nobody reads before meetings, but Noble Drawley commanded that that letter be read before meetings? Isn't it interesting? That's a whole new area. We won't go into that right now because I want to stay on point with this. So nationalization is the process by which a people who have been removed from the capacity of normal descendancy to be replaced in line. It's sort of like physically, if people in line, somebody snatches somebody out of line, they're supposed to be next, and that lets the other person be next, doesn't it? So now, if an inheritance is there, and you snatch the true heir out, and then somebody places themselves there, that's what the European does. That is what colonial powers is. So they have control of what? The resources and the wealth of the Moorish nation. And after so many generations, the Moors begin to believe it belongs to them. As a matter of fact, the Moors are paying them fees to travel on their own land. It's called license. As a matter of fact, the Moors are paying them rent in houses that actually belong to them, and they think it belongs to Europeans. What do you do to fix that? You nationalize them. Well, is nationalizing them just giving them a nationality card? No, there's knowledge that must go with that. Because if they don't understand what a nationalization actually is, they themselves will undermine their own inheritance. Then if you have people amongst you that are not teaching the national side of this movement, people themselves don't even know what they have. And so they get caught up in the cycle of worshiping the prophet more than paying attention to what he told them. They get caught up in imagery and not in the work that needs to be done. Therefore, they misunderstand the purpose and reason and cause of the Moorish divine and national movement of the world. It is our duty to see that they understand the other side that was hidden from them. But then they have to become adept in certain things, don't they? Which means expert. That means they have to have some understanding of what this is all about, right or wrong. Right. So Noble Drew Ali said what? Every temple must have a school, didn't he? Yes. So what are schools for? Schools are in place to teach people things necessary in the disciplines of civilization. Now, didn't he also say that we have, the Asiatic nation have keys to civilization? Hmm? Yes. So what do we discover when we go back and start studying world history? We discover that the Moors brought the Renaissance to Europe and brought the Europeans and Europe out of the Dark Ages in the 14th, the 15th, and the 16th centuries. That's called the Renaissance. And the Renaissance brought them out of the darkness into marvelous light. And with that science, that culture, that metaphysical knowledge, the knowledge of Deity, that people call Tahuti, that people call deity today, which is all the same thing, and in the mystery schools they call Hermes, and in Masonry they call Hermes Trismegistus, and in ancient Egypt they call Thoth, are all one and the same. Now, key is there's a philosophy that goes with this. That philosophy is called Masonry. To hide it. Masonry is cosmology. The cosmos is the universe. The culture is astrology. See how words are used to hide things? Therefore, if you're going to raise a people, you have to expose them to that, because they will be rejecting certain things, grabbing certain things, and having limited understanding of it all. Therefore, the persons who knows that the word universe and cosmos mean exactly the same thing will look at it holistically, won't they? A person who's told that Allah is the father of the universe, and another person who told that the cosmos is the key science, if they don't know better, they think they got something different, don't they? But a scientist and a linguist knows better, don't they? Therefore, it is incumbent upon us to tell our people to study, study, and study well. Isn't it? And it all leads back to us, doesn't it? So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali told the Moors, says, study, study, study. And when you would have studied well and would ask me what to study next, I would reply, study yourselves. So what do you discover? If you really pay attention to this Moorish divine and national movement honestly and with integrity, what Noble Drew Ali is actually doing is reinstituting the Renaissance. He is bringing to the Moors of North America a second Renaissance, because we need it the most. However, it's actually for humanity at large. And so what do you discover when you really study the Renaissance? You discover that it's 7 liberal arts, it is philosophies, it's cosmology, it is psychology, it is astrology, astronomy, geometry, mathematics, metaphysics, human